Hi, my name is Caitlin, and today I am going to be presenting a presentation on reflections of problem solving. I have chosen to focus this project on Blockbuster Video, so I will start with a quick introduction of the company's history, then I will move into two problems that the company has faced, and I will end with how one of those problems could have been resolved differently. Alright, so let's get started. On October 19th, 1985, the first Blockbuster video rental store opened in Dallas, Texas. With over 8,000 tapes in the store, this first store was a complete success, and Blockbuster expanded very quickly. By 1988, Blockbuster was America's leading video chain, with over 400 stores, and by the early 1990s, they had over 1,000 stores. This made Blockbuster quickly become one of the world's largest providers of in-home movies and game entertainment. However, problems began to arise in the late 1990s, and with technology changing and poor business decisions, the company eventually had no choice but to file for bankruptcy in 2010. So what led to this bankruptcy? One reason is poor business management. Here is a prime example. In 1994, Sumner Redstone paid $8.4 billion to own Blockbuster Video. But only 3 years later, in 1997, the stores were being described by consumers as a complete mess. They were not only cluttered, but full of what Redstone described as complete junk, and consumers were walking out of the stores empty-handed. After defining the problem, Redstone knew he was in trouble, so he got to the bottom of what the root of the problem really was. He and his deputy chairman decided it was narrowed down to his CEO, Bill Fields at the time, his distribution system being overwhelmed with warehouses full of everything from bubblegum to hats to t-shirts, and not to mention dreadful marketing that had no true focus. At this point, Redstone had to come up with a list of possible solutions, which included firing the CEO, moving company headquarters, and refocusing Blockbuster on its core business of video rentals. The best solution was credited to firing the previous CEO, because by bringing in a new CEO, they were given fresh perspective, which ultimately transformed the video rental industry. This was accomplished by adopting a revenue-sharing model. Essentially, with this model, instead of Blockbuster buying tapes up to $65 a piece, Blockbuster could get them for a few dollars from the studios and then share rental revenue with the studio. Stores could offer a greater depth because they were able to buy many more copies of hit titles. As a result of making these changes, in 1998, revenues grew by 37% to $3.9 billion, and operating earnings were up to $477 million. When considered how Sumner and CEO might have approached the problem differently when it came to the 1997 problem refocusing the brand. Honestly, don't have any recommendations on how they could have resolved that problem any differently. But knowing that the company went bankrupt just 13 years later, there are plenty of recommendations that can be made given that problem. The root of that problem stems from not adapting to changing technology. It's not that Sumner and Antioco didn't have the opportunity to change or that they didn't know about the changes, they just chose to ignore the changes. Interestingly enough, in September 2000, Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph had a meeting with CEO Antioco of Blockbuster, and he offered them a deal to buy Netflix for $50 million. The solution for Blockbuster to focus on running the stores and for Netflix to focus on the DVDs by mail and streaming service was the offer. Antioco's response was the .com hysteria is completely overblown and that Netflix's business model would never work. He was arrogant towards the Netflix idea, and if only Antioco had taken a moment to truly consider the potential that Netflix had, the meeting might have gone differently. If $50 million was too much to ask, Blockbuster had the opportunity to make a lower offer to Netflix, which the founders might have accepted given the shaky finances that Netflix had at the time. Or the two companies could have worked out some sort of partnership that could have given Blockbuster the benefits of Netflix's online expertise without Blockbuster actually buying Netflix. Another solution could have been that when DVDs and VHS became irrelevant to the world, Blockbuster could have considered moving their top employees into different Netflix roles. There is plenty of solutions, but instead, the CEO of Blockbuster just chose to laugh at Netflix's CEO and not go in that direction. If he had, though, Blockbuster could have made different decisions during that meeting. Their outcome could have been very different for their business. Within 10 years, DVDs and VHS stores became obsolete, and Blockbuster went bankrupt. Antioco instead did not work out a deal, but if they had, Blockbuster could still be in business, and 25,000 employees could have possibly saved their jobs. Now, Blockbuster is a company that is a great example of what happens when you don't adapt to changing world. I hypothesize that if Blockbuster would have adapted and would have been more receptive to Netflix's offer, they would still be a profitable business today. And then here are my references for you. So thank you. Have a great day.